Hey guys. Okay, so this week we're going to kind of pick up where we left off, so to speak, when it comes to the video that I did last week. So just to recap very, very quickly, last week I said I want to give you guys some insight to some of the feedback we'd received through a survey that we did recently to some of our key clients on our social media. So go back and watch that video if you haven't seen it already, because it sets the scene for what I'm going to pick up on today. But just to recap very quickly, we talked about why I'm sharing this information, so why I wanted to give you some insight in the first instance. Then we talked about the fact that why I didn't just go to analytics, why I actually wanted to do the survey. Then I looked at the 3 reasons why we actually put so much effort, let's just say, into our social media, and why we do want to continue to, prioritize, that's the word I'm looking for, prioritize it going forward. And then I talked about the sort of questions that we put into the survey, and again, I'll say if you want to go check it out and add your own comments, just go to our link in bio, the survey will be there, so you can see all the questions there. And then we started to talk about the 10 key takeaways from this survey. So we covered off point number 1 and 2. So now we're going to go points 2 to 10, and then we're going to look into the future and sort of go, okay, what have I started to, what's the word I'm looking for? What direction am I thinking I'll run in from here? Let's go with that. So point number 3, the thing that I was surprised about is, well, not so much surprised, I kind of already come to this conclusion myself, but it just really hit home, was the fact that people don't know what information is out there. There was a lot of people when we asked the question, okay, what topics do you want to cover off in videos in the future? What information do you want us to give, etc.? A lot of people were like, I don't know. I'm sure if I have a question, it's already there in a video. I just don't know how to access it or to get my hands on that information, so to speak. Which then leads to point number 4 and 5. We asked the question, okay, what if we were to start doing a monthly newsletter that recapped what you'd missed on our social media? So it's kind of like a monthly thing, probably kick it off from January next year, where we're like, okay, here's a quick summary of everything we've done on social media in the last month. And it'd just be maybe images with quick little summary titles or something like that. The benefit being, number 1, you can see, oh, I missed that video, I'm going to go back and watch it now. And the second benefit being you can keyword search in your email. So let's say fast forward 2 months from now, you're like, oh, got a property that has flooding on it. I know BTP did a video on flooding recently. How do I access it? Go to your email, type in like Brisbane Town Planning newsletter and flooding or something like that. And then it would pop up and you go, great, there's the link to the video. So yeah, there was a lot of people that said they would actually love to get access to a newsletter, and that was 82%. And I was surprised by that. Like, I personally hate newsletters these days. Like, I unsubscribe from as many as I possibly can. But when I actually sat there and took it back to they don't know how to access the information, or people don't know where to go to get the information, the newsletter kind of makes sense. So yeah, when I get to talking about what the plans are from here, as you'll see, we're going to do a newsletter. Next was the podcast. So I said to people, okay, what if, and I don't want to make this an extra effort thing, a whole new thing, but what if we could just extract the audio from our current weekly videos and repurpose that into a podcast? What do you think about that? Do you think that would be a good idea? 77% said yes, we'd love it. And I was like, interesting. Like, I guess I'm suddenly getting into the podcast world. Like, I'm a late comer when it comes to that thing. But every time I get in the car at the moment, I'm listening to a business podcast or an industry podcast or something like that, because I'm like, well, there's 15 minutes of time I can be learning something. So if I'm doing that, kind of makes sense that other people would be doing it too. So, and yeah, the bit of feedback we got was they don't have time to watch the 15-minute videos. And so I was like, okay, well, let's give it to people in audio format so they can process it more in their day-to-day going about type thing. So yeah, point number 3, like I said, was they don't know what's out there. Point number 4 was that people want a newsletter to help them work out what's out there, and they want a podcast, again, to help them process the content. Next, number 6 was viewing time. This one kind of surprised me. I thought most people would come back and say it was like when they're laying in bed at night or whatever, doom scrolling. But most people, and I didn't write down the statistics unfortunately, but most people came back and said it was in those small breaks at work. So when they're in the toilet or in a queue for coffee or on lunch break or things like that, that's when they're actually absorbing the content. So I'm like, interesting. We're currently posting our videos at like 5:45 or 6:45 or whatever it is in an afternoon and evening. That's missing our target times. So I'm going to be looking at that. Number 7 was their number 1 reason for liking our social media content. This was a bit of a validation one. I was like, in terms of, again, go back to why we post on our social media and do so much here. People came back and said it gave them more confidence and made them feel more professional when it comes to engaging with their clients. So I was like, that means we're arming people with the information they need. It's exactly what I was hoping to hear. So that was the overwhelming response. And then number 8, what people want. Oh, yes. Okay, so for a second there, I was like, what did I mean by what do people want? I saw this overwhelming content come back and I was like, I know this. I don't want to hear this because I already know this and I don't know how to manage it or handle it. So first things first, people want to take it back to basics. Now, the reason why I know, or the reason why I don't want to know this is, how do I fit in basic content to our social media when I've already got so much content in there? Like, I don't want to give up our weekly 15-minute videos because that's my opportunity to answer frequently asked questions that have come up that week, which helps me with our emails. It also gives me the chance to be able to update people on new issues and evolving issues with council and all of that sort of stuff. So I don't want to give up that. But I don't want to add another layer of information and overload. Like, I don't want to do another layer of videos or anything like that. So how am I going to go back to basics? I do have some ideas there, so I'll get to that later. Next was case studies. Everyone wanted case studies. Okay, case studies are a really hard thing for me to do. And I want to give you guys some insight into why that is. And it's not because I'm trying to justify why I can't do this. I've actively, what's the word I'm looking for? One of my goals for this next 90 days is to really challenge myself in this area because I know there is a way to do it. I just haven't worked it out yet. So yeah, I'm going to share what the roadblocks are with you guys so that hopefully you can help me overcome those roadblocks. So first and foremost, I'm scarred. Like, I'm going to be honest, there was a town planner, I'm going to watch how I talk about this. There was a town planner going back 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. They would actively stalk my social media, and every time I posted about a client, so I shared a win or I talked about a job, they would the next day instantly call that person and harass them for a meeting. And then they'd basically go in and say, oh yeah, but we want to talk to you, we want to be a town planner. And I know this because people gave me the feedback. They were like, what? We had this person call us and this is what they said type thing. So one person in particular said, oh, we've got a town planner, it's Peter, we're good. And this person said, well, everyone needs a second town planner, which I'm totally cool with. Totally understand that. There's certain jobs that I don't do, and there's certain times where we're at capacity, we may not be able to meet your time requirements, all of that sort of stuff. So a second town planner is a great option there. But what really bothered me is how hard they pushed, how aggressive they were, and I didn't like the fact what I'm told is that they basically said that I was best buddies with them, that I'd trained them, we were on the same wavelength, all of this sort of stuff. And I was like, I have no idea who this person is. Like, I literally went to Google afterward and Googled them and I was like, who is this person? So it bothered me that they were being so forceful with my clients, and I was worried that that was then a reflection on me and my character with my clients and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, ever since then, I've been a lot more private, and private's the best way to say it, about sharing who our clients are and all that sort of stuff. Like, you can work it out through our social media, I'm sure. But, and I mean other ways now that I think about it, but I decided not to be as open when it comes to our social media because I didn't want to attract that attention and that, don't know how to say it, but basically that stuff for my clients. So yeah, that was the first barrier. The second barrier is privacy. Like, I had a situation, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago or so, I did a video where I did a case study on a property. So I thought I removed all of the identifiers. I blurred out the street names on the street signs. I blurred out the road names when it came to the interactive mapping, all of that sort of stuff. And I just talked about this property as a case study of, okay, here's all the things that I can find from a town planning perspective. Anyway, the day I posted it, I received a phone call from an architect, a very well-intentioned architect. Like, I'm grateful he did give me this phone call. But he called me, he's like, if I want to, I could work out exactly where that property is. Like, I'm sure Brisbane's very small in the scheme of things. I can work out where that property is. And if that's my property, you've instantly devalued it by critiquing and analysing all the things with it. And I was like, oh, that's not what I want to do. Like, I don't want to devalue someone's property. I don't want to put those negative vibes out there. That's not me. So I took the video down. So since then, I've been like, okay, how am I going to overcome this issue in terms of case studies? I considered the idea of creating like cartoon images. So instead of using photos, which are more realistic and easily identifiable, would I do like cartoon images that people could look at, and can I talk about that? But then it removes the realness, the connection that people feel to the images. Like, I don't feel like it's going to hit the mark, and it's a lot of extra work. Like, I don't want to go creating cartoons. I can't do them, but I've got to verbalize what I want someone else to do. Then I thought about the idea, okay, why don't I have like the camera sitting on my desk and record a phone call with a client where I'm like, okay, I'm analyzing your site. So this is what I'm noticing here, et cetera, et cetera. But then I was like, I feel like that's going to be a bit boring again because you're not seeing the images. So like I said, I want to challenge myself in this space because I do think it's going to add value in terms of really bringing home the points that I'm trying to make for clients and all of that sort of stuff. But they're the two barriers that I've got here. I'm kind of over the first one. I'm kind of like, oh, whatever, I'll just do my own thing, even though it still does bother me a bit. But the privacy and the potential perceived impacts, that's something I still need to overcome there. So yeah, that's that. Then very quickly, the second last thing, I love this. Second last thing that came out of the surveys was people love the quirk factor or the kookiness. They love the costume videos and they want more costume videos. And I was like, oh, you were giving me a green light to go a little bit crazy here, people. Like, I've got so many ideas for costume videos in my head. Like, I've got one that's going to be this real trash bag kind of one. I can see my hair. Like, I'm going to be an absolute, watch my language here. I'm going to be a trash bag. Let's stick with that. I'm going to be an absolute trash bag in this video, and I'm going to use that to talk about proposal plans and what you should be showing and all of that sort of stuff. Got another video idea. It's like an X-ray video idea. I'm going to crack out that skeleton costume. Like, I've got so many ideas, but I was kind of holding back because I was kind of like, yeah, I don't want to push things too far. I don't want to seem too weird and too strange. Like, I even look at myself a lot of the time and go, where did that come from? That is weird. So yeah, you guys give me the green light there. So I'm just going to go a little bit more crazy. And then last but not least, this was so hilarious. Like, I didn't ask for this feedback, but we got feedback from someone who said we should be increasing our prices. I love that kind of feedback. I'm definitely going to take that on board. Okay, so those were the 10 key things. Where do we go from here? Short answer is I don't know. So Kim and I are going to be catching up with our extended team in mid-November. We're doing like a retreat thing. And the aim of that retreat is basically, or the key goal I'm going to get out of this retreat is just to sit down and say, if we were, because we've been in business 10 years now, if we were to start this business tomorrow, what would we do differently? How would we set things up differently? So a big part of that, a big chunk of one of the days, I'm going to sit down and just go, okay, let's reassess our social media. Let's take this feedback that we've received so far, and hopefully you guys will give me more. Take that feedback on board, and what do we do from here? Let's come up with some new ideas, some new concepts, all of that sort of stuff. Then over the Christmas break, I always close the office for 3 weeks, and for 2 of those weeks, I actually work behind the scenes on the business, setting ourselves up for the year ahead. So I actually want to use that time again to go, okay, let's start implementing this newsletter. Let's start doing all of that sort of stuff. But what I'm thinking so far, like I've alluded to it before, the newsletter, we're going to hit go on that. Like, that's going to be a quite easy thing that we can simply send people. You can opt in, you can opt out, like do what you want there. I think I might also do like a flashback, or what's the word? Flashback, is that the right way to say it? Basically where you look back to one of my previous favorite videos from that month, X number of years ago type thing. So it gives me a chance to kind of feed in some old content as well. Then I'm thinking, okay, people want to see back to basics. So how do I incorporate that? Like I said, you can't add another layer of videos. Like I'm over videos myself, so I'm not going to do another layer of videos. I don't want to give up the weekly ones for the reasons I mentioned before. So maybe what I'm going to do here, kind of thinking, is create like a portal. Clients, existing clients will have access to that portal for free. Maybe if you want access and you're not a client, you can pay for it. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. And maybe I'll go through and create a whole heap of back to basics content. Start right at the beginning and work our way through the most basic concepts. And maybe I can kind of shift or change the daily videos, the 60-second max videos, to be like a summary of a video or a new content piece that I've posted to that portal. So it's kind of like, it's not another video of me recording my face to camera because you get sick of my face, but maybe it's a summary and that can become our daily videos instead. Don't know. So yeah, anyway, long story short, that's the 10, because I'm very quickly getting close up to the 15-minute limit here. That's a summary of the 10 key takeaways that I've got so far from the feedback. What's starting to go through my head, like I said, I've got to challenge myself in terms of the case studies. There is going to be a way there. I've just got to work out how to do it. In terms of the ideas going forward here, I'm thinking some sort of portal where we just pump all of the information in there, and it'll be keyword searchable so people can easily find stuff. Use the newsletter to also help people find stuff. Yeah, who knows? We might get some other weird and wonderful ideas that come out of the retreat in the Christmas period. Yeah, but final takeaway is watch out for the cray-cray factor. You guys give me the green light. Oh man, who knows where this is going to go. Okay, I think that covers off everything I want to talk about. As I always say, until next time, thanks for watching.